Hello, welcome back to Mountain Gym Card Collectibles. Hope you're having a great week so far now that Friday is here. Anyway, today I want to talk about something that's been haunting the sports card hobby for a while, but for one reason or another, it still lingers in our trade. And what is that? Lionel Messi autographs from 2018, which, as far as we can tell, his brother signed. And you can really tell the difference in the autographs once you begin to dig into them. But what surprised me the most is how these fake autographs are still being, or attempted to be sold on eBay. But before we get into that, let's dig into what I'm talking about. All right, so Blowout Cards has some information about this. I recommend going there, and hopefully you can pull it up, about the 2018 Lionel Messi fake autographs. Matt Burton. So I have only been collecting soccer cards for the last 2 to 3 years. I've been a huge autograph collector for the past 3 years. I noticed when looking at some of Leo Messi's on-card autos that they looked very odd. So did a little research and had a very good source tell me that it was known Leo's brother used to sign his stuff back in 2017 and 2018. I have commented to a few people that his Eminence graphs were terrible and looked nothing like Leo's graphs. I just wanted to bring a little light to the situation. I messaged Steve Grad Beckett on Twitter today and he responds saying the same thing. You can easily see the difference in handwriting. The L is awful on the Eminence. That's the first giveaway. Okay. It's kind of tough to really see it here. I have another picture where we can look at it closer, but here's the fake real. The fake has the L where it just goes all over the place. It goes right and left, whereas the L on a real card that we believe is real angles left. I mean, you can't deny it. I mean, if you see an L that angles right underneath, his name, that's fake. And you have to ask yourself, does Lionel Messi care about his fans? Do these players care about their fans? Because I've dug into some other autos, and I have a lot of questions with these autos as well, but right now I'm focused on the Lionel Messi autograph. And so, we have these 2012 to 2017 real autographs. I'll have that, L that's angled to the left. But then starting in 2017, we start getting these big, crazy L's, where it just goes left, right. They're like a big kind of balloon-looking thing, So that's just a basic take on it. So here on the left, you can clearly see the fake. And I'm sure that you see the bubble. And then on the right, you see the real one. And you see how the L angles to the left. Whereas on, the fake, it angles to the right. It's like a big mess. It doesn't even look like his autograph, to be honest. But then we can take a closer look at some more of these. And, we saw the real cards, they definitely angle left. But then we see all these fake cards, from, this 2017 and 2018 season here. They're just loaded with his brother's autographs, with the big L. I mean, they really do stand out, how far off they are. And now, apparently, PSA isn't taking a lot of these submissions for Lionel Messi autographs. For good reason. Because, let's face it, there's something really fishy going on with these Lionel Messi autographs. All right? So then we come up with some more information. And this is just another Google Gemini AI overview. And I'll just read what it says here. While Topps has established procedures to ensure the authenticity of their autograph cards, some information suggests that players may have representatives, including family members, sign for them. Yes. That's not good. Topps official stance. Topps generally states that a representative from their company is present when players sign cards to guarantee authenticity. They also double check signatures against their files for most major athletes. Okay. Contradictory information. However, some online discussions suggest that this may not always be the case. One thread mentions a situation where a family member allegedly signed for Lionel Messi, causing controversy. Another post mentions that some athletes may sign stickers at home and send them in without direct oversight from a representative. There's even a mention of an MLB player who allegedly has his father sign his autographs. I forget that guy's name, but I saw it in the news, and, the players just talking, he has his dad do it, and they're just kind of laughing like it's no big thing, It's a big thing. It's a big thing because people are paying big cash for these autographs. and that's why I just feel like Topps is just gaming the system. Panini's just gaming the system. They're all just gaming the system. Reasons for representatives. It's understandable why players might need representatives, especially for sticker autos. They might have busy schedules and would be logistically difficult for Topps to have employees travel to every player to witness each signature. And the reality is if we want a legitimate autograph trade, well, it has to be done completely differently. And I've heard some other people talk about, I brought up before, maybe you won't like the way the cards look, but then again, maybe you'd like them even more. And that's the fact that you really need a notary public to witness these autograph signings. You really do. And until we start getting a notary public, putting their notary public, stamp on these autographs, really, these autos are basically a joke. And the reason I'm saying that is I have dug into other autographs, and they are so different from one another that you begin to ask yourself, who is signing these, Today I'm focused on the Lionel Messi, but the reality is, I'm also going to go over the Marvin Harrison Jr. autographs today as well. Because when you look at the Marvin Harrison Jr. autographs and all the issues, with the agreements that the Marvin Harrison Jr. company was having with Topps, you begin to ask yourself, what is going on with these autographs? Because they are so different. Anyway, so the importance of having, a notary public really needs to be hammered into autograph signings. And I would like to see cards that have notary public stamps on them. And that would cost more money. And I know Topps doesn't want to do it. I know Panini doesn't want to do it. I know Leaf doesn't want to do it because they know it would cost them a lot more money and the price would shoot up. But let's face it, at least you're going to start getting what you are paying for. But I don't run a sports card company, unfortunately. So I can't have my sports cards with Notary Public stamps on them. I wish I could. It'd benefit the entire trade. So now here I am at eBay. Now, is eBay part of the scam as well? Well, I sell stuff on eBay. But you would think that eBay would, use their due diligence to kick off these scammy, bogus autograph Lionel Messi cards. And I'm just not really feeling that when I look at it. So for instance, here's a 2018 Prism World Cup, and it has, the legitimate kind of looking auto on it. We can just go ahead and look at it, It does look like his legitimate auto on that, all right? But then right below it, I went over, the fake ones. Here's the 2018 Lionel Messi Panini Eminence Trophy Case On-Card Auto out of 10 Argentina. They are asking $4,000 or best offer on a fake card that you can just pull up online and go, oh, well, these are all the fake ones? Yeah, there it is. Look at it. It doesn't look proper at all. That L is his brother's auto. Whenever you see the big stupid L, it's his brother that signed it. And they're asking $4,000 on eBay. This should be taken off of eBay. Okay. So Here's one. There's kind of a mix. This one really looks like a legitimate Lionel Messi auto. Look at that. But is it? That's just it. Until you really start to get a notary public involved. Maybe his brother just did a better job of, faking the auto there, And then here's another one. 2018 Panini Eminent Soccer Lionel Messi Gold Ink on-card auto out of 5. And that's clearly his brother's signature. I mean, it's the big, it really looks like an 8, when you begin to look at it. I'll just pull it up here. If you see an L that looks like a big 8, you know it's fake. Look at that thing. Big 8. And look at the smudge there. And let's add $6,495 on, huh? eBay needs to do its due diligence as well and start to get this stuff off the radar. I just pulled up 2018, I mean, you could pull up multiple years, but the 2017 to 2018 is really one of the biggest fishy ones. But, here's another one. This obviously looks fake as well. This is 2018 Panini Prism World Cup. They're asking $10,000 for this. Look at that. Look at that. Likely fake, likely his brother. Doesn't look like the big 8 though, but that's just because he didn't finish it. But still, is it fake? Is it real? It looks fake. Now, here's one that looks real. This is 2018 to 2019. Different year. Look at this. That looks real. Remember, and to me it looks kind of like a J, the real one. That's kind of how I do my J's, But he does his L's that way. It's kind of weird. But that's supposedly the way the real ones are supposed to look. But the issue that I have with eBay is, here's another one, 2018 Panini Eminence Lionel Messi Unmatched Triple Diamond Auto out of 10 from Argentina. Look at this. They want $4,500 for this. That's as fake as can be. Look at that. Okay. So, if you're going to do Lionel Messi autos, and then here's another one. This one does look more like his legitimate auto, but it still has that, it doesn't angle right or to the left enough. And so, once again, I'm suspicious that that's likely one of his brother's autos. And to do it on these low-numbered cards and to have Lionel Messi not care at all, I mean, who do you sue? If you're a buyer of one of these fake Lionel Messi autos, do you sue Lionel Messi? Do you sue the company? If it's graded, do you sue the grading company? Maybe you sue them all because you're just the big, dumb oaf here. So anyway, let's look at some Marvin Harrison Jr. autos. And they're really interesting to look at too, because they are so different. So the Marvin Harrison Jr. Contract dispute with Topps really brings autograph signing to the top of the cream, if you know what I mean. It's separating the cream of the crop here, where autographs begin to become something that's almost a joke to an extent. Now, it has to do with this contract dispute. Anyway, I'll just read the Google Gemini AI overview to remind you of what happened here and why we're getting so many, scribble autos from Marvin Harrison Jr. supposedly. All right. So Marvin Harrison Jr. had a contract dispute with Fanatics, who owns Topps, regarding a term sheet for autographs and other memorabilia. Harrison Jr. argued that the term sheet was not binding on him personally, but rather on his company, the official Marvin Harrison Collection, LLC. Fanatics disagreed, claiming Harrison Jr. was personally obligated by the agreement. Okay, so elaboration, the dispute. Fanatics sued Harrison Jr. in May 2024, alleging he breached a binding term sheet for autograph and memorabilia rights. Harrison Jr.'s position. Harrison Jr. claimed he never signed the binding term sheet personally, and that his father, Marvin Harrison Sr., signed on behalf of the official Harrison Collection LLC. All right, so right there, I started thinking, well, we've already had this issue with family members signing, autos. Clearly, they have this company, Marvin Harrison Sr., who was a former NFL football player, for the Colts. As far as I remember, he might have played elsewhere, but I remember playing with the Colts. I started asking myself, is it possible that Marvin Harrison Sr. could have possibly signed some of Marvin Harrison Jr.'s autos? Because, this is a contract dispute. I mean, I have a sense that Marvin Harrison Jr. is just not happy about this at all. So I could see him, using the, having his dad sign autos for him, like secretarial autos, and Topps, from what I've heard, they allow players to have agents sign their autos for them. So back to this issue with, are we getting a real auto or not? And when you look at some of these Marvin Harrison Jr. autos in comparison to Marvin Harrison Sr. autos mixed with the scribble autos, it really has turned this market into kind of a joke. So let's go ahead and check out eBay. All right, so we're going to look at both these players, Marvin Harrison Sr., just I call him Marvin Harrison, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. All right, so here's a 2025 Topps Resurgence Marvin Harrison Ricky Patch auto. I'm actually going to pull this up. This is one of his scribble autos. Now, when you look at this auto, I guess it's supposed to be an M, but notice how the ink angles up here. Notice the angle up, okay? So I'm going to just keep going down. And we keep seeing these various scribbles, we saw this scribble. And then, could you imagine paying all that money for Topps Midnight to get this auto? Look at this one. It looks about like the same. This is Topps Midnight. Another sticker. No, it's a sticker. It's not a hard sign. All right. It looks basically the same, but not quite the same. All right. But then we come into these Marvin Harrison Jr. Autos that obviously he was feeling better about the situation. And to me, I've really nailed down these three are legitimate Marvin Harrison Jr. autos. You can kind of see them. They're there. They all look about the same now, don't they? They really do. That's what you should be getting. You shouldn't be getting these scribbles. And then the thing with the scribble that I begin to ask myself is, who is doing the scribble? All right, so now let's dig into some of Marvin Harrison Sr.'s autos. Okay, so here is Marvin Harrison Sr.'s autos. What does that kind of remind you of at the end there, huh? Does that kind of remind you of something that we've been seeing, like the scribble autos? Okay, I can't prove that it's him signing this, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s autos, but here's one that I would pretty much, I've ironed out that this is pretty much the way that a true Marvin Harrison Jr. auto is supposed to look, okay? You see that you got these kind of zigzags, jigsaw pattern, and then we have the Junior, okay? All right. So then, here's another Harrison Sr. auto. Now notice the scribble. Look back to this Marvin Harrison Jr. scribble here. Look at how it always angles up. Okay? It always angles up at the end there. Now back to the legitimate Marvin Harrison Jr. auto. Does he ever angle anything up on that legitimate auto? I have never seen like the legitimate stuff. I mean, here we are. I don't really see anything angling up. Okay. Back to this one. This is the 2000 Topps Marvin Harrison Jr. Look at how he ends it. It angles up. It angles up. Just get rid of that top letter there. Okay, and we get pieces rid of this. Okay, so, all right. It angles up. Here's another Marvin Harrison Sr. It angles up. All right, here's a Marvin Harrison Jr. scribble auto. This from a guy who never angles up at the last stroke. It angles up. Look at that. It angles up. More scribble, more scribble. More scribble. Here's one that looks legitimate again. Let's take a look at this legitimate junior auto. Not the best. Kind of ends the R strange there, but I have a feeling that that's still a legitimate one. But then back to, like this one. This one, it angles up. See, the scribble angles up. And then it kind of looks like an M that angles up, doesn't it? All right, so more legitimate, more legitimate. All right. So here's a Marvin Harrison Sr. one, another one. It kind of angles up there, but let's look closely at Marvin Harrison Sr.'s auto here. There's things about this auto that remind me of the scribble. Doesn't it? Kind of like this piece. Doesn't that kind of remind you of the scribble? Huh? I can't prove to you that Marvin Harrison Jr. is the person doing the scribbles. But as unhappy as Marvin Harrison Jr. is with this agreement between him and Topps that he was forced into, because that term sheet, I would be very, very nervous with those scribble autos, to the point to where I'm almost thinking that Harrison Sr. could possibly be the one signing them. Just when you start to look at, the way that each one signs their autos, because they're both football players. I mean, all of this is right here on eBay. I mean, they had to think that, people would start to dig into it. Maybe people just aren't digging into these autographs like they should be. But boy, the Lionel Messi stuff, getting shilled on eBay for, a lot of the stuff close to 10 grand that we knew it was clearly his brother's autograph, faking Lionel's auto. And then this Marvin Harrison Jr. stuff, I dug into some other autos as well. And I'll do other episodes where I dig into the autographs. But when it comes to these two autographs, these two signers, I'm just saying, we saw, like the Marvin Harrison Jr. autos that look like those are truly his. The scribble autos, I just don't even know if he's doing the scribble autos at all. I mean, who is doing the scribble autos? Is it even Marvin Harrison Sr.? Or is it just some person that he hired to do it? That's just it. And it just, there really needs to be like a big cleaning up of how autographs are handled by these companies. They don't want to spend the money to do it right, in my opinion. They don't want to pay for notary publics to witness what really needs to be witnessed. I mean, it would just be nice to start seeing these notary public stamps on autographs, wouldn't it? It really would. I mean, Upper Deck, they made some changes for the way that they're putting out patches, so you feel, like you're getting a legitimate patch that hasn't been swapped out, But I don't see the other companies doing that, They're just still playing their games, So there just needs to be more responsibility from these companies when it comes to these autographs and the way that they're being managed. And you can just dig into them, and they're just, from scribble autos to, other autographs. It's a mess. Anyway, if you have any different opinions, leave some comments. Thank you to my subscribers. You're the reason I keep doing this. And thank you to all the viewers who watch this. If you haven't subscribed, just click the subscribe button. It's 100% free. Anyway, hope you have a great weekend. I'm out of here. Bye.